Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. Today, my special guest is Matt Anderson, and Matt is one of our customers. He's came up here today to get some posts, and I made a comment that we had some puppies, and he'd already had an older dog. It's about a year old, and he's got some rams that he bought from us, and he just asked about, he's going to be getting some more sheep later this summer from us, but he's got a perfect deal going. When you got a couple older rams and you got a puppy like this and an older dog that's doing well, this is a perfect opportunity to train a good young dog. So he picked up this little female, and you picked out my favorite besides the brown-headed dog. She's look at her. Yeah, I love that. Look, I mean, she's got beautiful markings.
Yeah.
So you have to let me know what you name her, Matt, when you get.
I haven't thought of it yet. I didn't even know we'd be going home. But
anyway, Matt, would you give us a little history of kind of where you came from and what you're up to here in Missouri now?
Yeah, well, we moved out here from San Diego in November. We bought a place a little outside Springfield.
Okay.
And we moved here because we lived in California, and things were going terrible there, just with politics and all the regulations and taxes and whatnot. I was going to law school, planning to be an attorney, and after the pandemic hit, my dad had a few acres outside of town, and we started doing feeder sheep and chickens and things like that.
In California?
In California.
Yep.
And so we kind of just fell in love with that lifestyle, and talked about getting out of California for a long time, moving maybe to Idaho or to Wyoming, something like that. So we just started looking at properties in Missouri because a friend recommended this place, and we found a nice farm and bought it. And so now the plan is to just kind of follow the Greg Judy model of doing cattle and sheep and regenerative agriculture.
Yep.
And I pretty much just have been reading books and watching your videos and taking it day by day.
Well, it sounds like you kind of got things going on pretty good. I mean, you picked up some corner posts this morning from us, some of the fiberglass corner posts. You're getting your steers and some heifers later on in June. Bull to come
Yeah.
Next year. And so you've got a pretty sizable piece of ground there, and you said you've been working on it you're clearing some of it like into silvopasture now?
Yeah, I think there's about 100 acres that are pasture right now, and there's a lot more that could be silvopasture or cleared. So waiting on fencing materials to get here. We've just been clearing trees and getting areas ready to do silvopasture and things like that. We've been doing mushrooms too with
yeah, that's cool. So you did some mushroom logs?
Yeah, we did mushroom logs. We did that last week. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's cool. Well, you were telling me earlier that some of your neighbors are kind of looking at you kind of funny, cross-eyed, like, what's this guy doing?
Oh yeah, yeah. And they're big cattle people. They've been running cattle their entire lives, and they just, for them, it's more of a hobby. I think that a lot of them lose money every year, but they just like to be out with livestock and do their thing. But I'm describing what I'm going to be doing, and they've never heard of anything like. They've never heard of regenerative agriculture, and never heard of even making money off cattle, even if you need thousands of acres and thousands of cows, and so it's exciting to talk to them about it and teach them about it.
Well, it's refreshing to see young people like yourself. You've never had a lot of experience. I mean, you played around with a little bit in California, but as far as what you're digging into right now, it doesn't seem to be slowing you up too much. I mean, you're just going forward. You've got some goals set.
Yeah.
And you're working through it.
It's a bit overwhelming at times, but it's exciting and
yep. Well,
learning a ton.
If you had to give a couple sentences of advice to other people that might be in your shoes that are thinking about it, or getting on the land, what would be a couple items of advice, sage advice, that you would give them?
to get onto land, or to
Yeah, to get on the land, and actually, once you get on land, you know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, well, I would say just if you can get out of debt first, whatever debt you're in. You know, you have to look at like what overheads you're going to have, and focus really on one thing at a time. Don't get so overwhelmed.
Yep.
And like you always say, it's your perimeter fence first.
Yep.
Worry about that. Get your watering in.
Don't try and do too many things at once starting out.
Don't overextend yourself.
Yep.
Start small.
Yep.
You know, I've got plenty of land to buy a lot more cattle and sheep than I've got coming, but
right.
I've never done this before. I've never handled livestock before.
Right.
So, I mean, sheep and stuff like that, but the first time I was ever around cows was here with you, walking through your pasture. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing it right. I mean, you're starting with, you know, I think you bought, was it 10 heifers?
Mm-hmm.
You got 10 heifers, and so you'd be getting a bull in 2023, and so you know it's not like you're jumping in with 100 head.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna learn, get some bruises and scrapes.
Mm-hmm.
We call it. That's called the experience, and the only way to actually learn is to get out and do it. So that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is.
To see people that are getting back on the land, and there's something rewarding, Matt, about going out on a piece of ground like what you've got and making it better.
Right.
You know, building fence on it, getting some water out there, clearing off some of the brush, and then next year you go out there and go, wow, I can't believe how far we've come in 1 year.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's kind of where you're at right now.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wanted people to kind of hear Matt's story, because I meet a lot of people like Matt. I get a lot of emails, and we're going to be seeing you here in about, what, 3 weeks?
Yeah, grazing school.
Yeah, you've signed up to the advanced grazing school, so I think that'll be a great learning experience for you. We try and teach everything that we do here on the farm, and it's just going to save you a lot of mistakes down the road. I've had people come, Matt, and they'd already done a bunch of stuff on the farm. They're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They could have saved a ton of money if they'd have just done a little bit of research and learning before they jumped in,
Right.
you know, head over heels.
Yeah.
So, my gosh, what's that coming up the hill? That's got to be the boys.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, they got the baling over on the back of it. That's my crew right there. That's Isaac and Ike and David. Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to let you go. Thank you, Matt, for the interview, and the best of luck to you in your journey forward. And folks, we'll see you all down the road.